Hello, this is Jessica again, and I am here to share a dream that I had on February 12th, the night of the 12th, 13th, 2023. So, this one um, is about a warning for famine. So, this one, please take to the Lord in prayer and just ask Him to guide you in what to do with this message. So I'm just going to read it from my journal here. So I was in, let's hold on. Okay, so I had these two salamanders, these black salamanders, and in real life we did have two black salamanders. Um, and but in the dream, I was at my parents' and I had the two black salamanders, and one was alive and one looked very, very skinny, like it was almost starving to death. And I picked it up, and um, it looked like 90% dead. And I took it out on the back porch, and I kind of went down the stairs, and I found a puddle, like a mud puddle, at the bottom of the stairs. And I was like taking the mud and rubbing it on it, trying to revive this dying salamander, and it it was dead. There was no bringing it back to life. Um, and then as I was doing that, my horse came up behind me. My horse Whiskey. He is my horse in real life. Um, and he came up behind me and kind of put his head down like over my shoulder, like almost like he was watching what I was doing. And I dropped the salamander, like just I was done with it. It was gone. And I started petting my horse's head. And as I petted his head, I kind of stood up and faced him and kind of pet down his neck. And then I turned and I looked at his body condition. And so I was happy to see him and stood up while petting his neck. That's when I saw his body. His fur looked so spotty and mangy, and his back was super sway backed, like the top half of his rib cage, like it was really like swooped down. And as I was petting down his spine, the top of his back disappeared, and it was like I was petting down his spine, and like almost like right by like where my hand was, it like disappeared, and it was like so I could look into like kind of where his spine is. I could look into him, like into his belly, like his chest cavity. And as I looked into like inside of him, it was just big and empty, like it was like dry, dusty hide inside of him. And I was super confused. I was like, what happened to you, Whiskey? In these dreams, it's almost like I'm given what to say. Like the script isn't my own. Um, if you've ever had one of these dreams, maybe you know, because these things are, I don't know. It's like my part of the script is part of the message. Um, and so I was like looking at him, and I was like, like who hasn't been feeding you, Whiskey? Like where is your food? You're starving to death. And as I'm like talking to him and like looking inside of his like dry dusty hide, like inside of his chest cavity, it was just like this downloaded message, like this is famine. And it was such a heavy understanding, that this is what this meant. And as I'm like standing there next to him, like understanding this, he kind of trotted off around the house, and he kind of went around the corner where I couldn't see him, and I followed him, and I was like, okay, Lord, like I understand. There's famine coming. Please confirm this. And when I come around to the front of the house, let there be 7 horses in the front yard. And as I came around the house, one by one, the horses came out of, like, there's a tree line in the front yard, and one by one, 7 horses came out onto this yard, onto the front yard. And as I'm walking towards them, towards like the middle of the front lawn, I was talking to God, and I was like, okay, God, I get it. Like, there's famine coming, confirmed. When is this famine coming? And I got to about the middle of the front yard, and I turned around and looked north, and it was like the scenery, not the weather turned from just clear blue skies and stuff to, like, the wind started picking up, and it just turned very, very stormy, and it was just whipping through the trees, and it almost looked like really, really dark, almost like tornado-like weather. And I was coming, or like it was in the distance, and it was coming towards me. It looked like one of those dust devils, and it was probably, I don't know, 15, 20 feet tall, and it was just coming at me across the lawn, and I just walked towards it, and I was like, I wonder, like, I know the storm is coming, but will I feel it? And I walked right up to this swirling dust devil, and I just, like, I put my hand through it, and I couldn't feel it at all. I don't know, that just speaks to how much Jesus will be with us in the storms to come. So after that, after I, like, put my hand through the dust devil and I couldn't feel it at all, I just remember raising my hands, and I don't know if I was praying or if I was singing or something. I just felt peace. So I just stood there with my arms raised, and that was the end of the dream. So yeah, confirmed famine coming. It's interesting with these dreams and stuff that God sends, almost like he uses Bible stories to help get the message across. With the 7 horses and the famine, you probably all know where I'm turning here. So Genesis 41, where Joseph is talking to Pharaoh. I'm going to read it here, this passage. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream I was standing on the bank of the Nile, when out of the river there came up 7 cows, fat and sleek, and they grazed among the reeds. After them 7 other cows came up, scrawny and very ugly and lean. I had never seen such ugly cows in the land of Egypt. The lean, ugly cows ate up the 7 fat cows that came up first. But even after they ate them, no one could tell that they had done so. They looked just as ugly as before. Then I woke up. In my dreams, I also saw 7 heads of grain, full and good, growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other heads sprouted, withered and thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 good heads. I told this to the magicians, but no one could explain it to me. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, "The dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are the 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. It is one and the same dream. The 7 lean, ugly cows that came up afterwards are 7 years, and so are the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. It is just as I said to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon." Again, I don't know what the timing is. I feel like it's sooner than 7 years. I feel like we're at the end. of the 7 years of good. So I guess take it to the Lord. We know that famine and pestilence are two of the things that are to come as warned by the Bible in Revelation. So that is the dream that I had. And again, take it to the Lord in prayer. Thanks.